Hey there everyone, and welcome back to Techniques of the Week. Today is our second installment of We Need Help 2 Wednesdays. This is going to focus on common household rewards and consequences. Quick lesson outline, we'll do check-ins. The lesson overall, we're going to look at the ABCs that we talked about last week, getting a schedule in place, determining rewards and consequences, common rewards and consequences, and then putting those into practice. Then we'll have a quiz and the best ways to get in touch with me. Again, I've included my contact information on the bottom of each slide, so hopefully things are going to start pouring in. Quick check-ins from me, feeling good. I have been very successful at getting on Zoom and completing meetings. I've come up with a new word that I'm Zoomailable at this time when I'm available for Zooms. My feeling worried are that this is the new normal for the rest of the school year. I'm sure you guys heard the governor's announcement yesterday and are bracing for what that's going to look like as well. From you guys, still not a whole lot of check-ins, but I have a feeling that your feeling worrieds are that this is the new normal for the rest of the year, just like it is mine. Quick review of the ABCs. The B comes first for me, at least because it's easier to remember. Behavior, that's what the student or child does. And it's got to be observable and objective. And again, I like the robot test. If I were trying to teach a robot how to do this, what would I say? How would I sort of eliminate my emotion from this behavior? The antecedents, what comes right before the behavior, includes triggers, signals, and setting events. Those things that the triggers are things that will light the fuse or set the behavior off, like being told no, or if a brother or sister takes my iPad. Signals are cues to you that the behavior is coming, like I've got clenched fists or heavy breathing. And setting events are things that make the behavior more likely to occur, so like not getting enough sleep or skipping breakfast or things like that. The consequence is what the child or student gets or avoids from engaging in that behavior. And each behavior has a function. This is kind of tied in with that consequence, why the student or child is doing this. And in terms of these screencasts, we can reduce that down to pretty much two kinds. We engage in these behaviors either to gain access to a preferred activity or task, or we engage in them to escape or avoid non-preferred activities or tasks. And then going into what the rest of the day will look like, rewards and punishments only alter the likelihood of that behavior occurring again. This is one of my soapbox that I need to let go of, but just giving someone what you think is a reward doesn't necessarily mean the behavior is going to happen again. It just increases the likelihood or the probability that it will. Same with punishments or consequences. So the first thing to do is get a schedule in place. We all do much better with routine because we know what to expect and when. Additionally, that routine itself can serve as a setting event or a stimulus cue for expected behaviors. You know what's on the schedule, you know what the behaviors you're supposed to engage in are. When we start getting really inconsistent and variable with our schedules, then it's harder to know, okay, how am I supposed to act right now? What am I supposed to be doing, what's acceptable and expected behavior versus what's not. And for best practice for getting a schedule in place, it's totally nerdy, but it really does help to have it written out. It can be whatever works best for you. Paper and pen, a whiteboard on the fridge. I've seen cookie sheets with magnets on them. Whatever works for you guys, just as long as it is written out so that you can walk by and it serves as sort of a reminder to everyone, oh, it is 12:30, it's time for Hadley's nap. Another best practice point is be consistent and try to minimize variation across days, even if what you're actually doing does change. So, for example, Monday through Friday now, when Hadley goes down for her nap, that's when I try to get a lot of my work done and then really be efficient there. On the weekends, or if we're out of school, when she goes down for her nap, that's when I'm going to try to get as much yard work done as I can. And then the third point is be prepared to swap out meaningful or related activities. So something's going to come up. We're going to, lose internet, or the power's going to go out, or something's going to happen that we can't do what we were supposed to do at this time. So just be prepared with something that you can swap in. And also having those extra minute fillers for times when, well, we've got like 5 minutes to kill or 10 minutes to kill. What can we do right now that's not just giving a kid an iPad or a screen? And I'll bring some examples of those up in the next slide. So this is just an example schedule, and I realize now I probably should have done a bedtime schedule instead of a morning schedule, just because that's going to really help getting to bed on time and having a good sleep routine and sleep hygiene. But anyway, here's just an example where you've got the time broken out, what the activity is, and then writing in some alternative activities. So if we do get to sleep in on Sunday or Saturday, then we can swap that in. Or if we don't, we decide not to have breakfast, or if breakfast doesn't take an hour, then we can also read a preferred book. Just ways that you can swap things out really quickly. And then I also always like to include a how did I do, and that just gives me some feedback of, well, woke up, had breakfast, both of those did really well, put my dishes back in the sink where they belong, smiley face. For core academics from 9 to 10:30, or household chores, maybe I didn't get as much accomplished, or I got stuck, texting or doing something else. Just some way to give feedback, because then we can tie that into rewards later on down the road in just a few slides. Down below, just some ideas for minute fillers. There's an app that I like to use called Calm, and it gives you some really brief meditations or calming strategies that you can do, stretches or wall push-ups. A lot of kids like having a sketch pad or an art pad. I like these things called boogie boards. They're essentially just LCD screens, so they are a screen, but it's not able to access YouTube. It doesn't have the internet. It's really just something that you can doodle on, kind of like a modern day Etch-a-Sketch. And then, if you've got multiple kids, you can have a paper airplane folding competition. Who goes the furthest, who's lost the longest, whatever works. You can have some quick games on hand, like a quick game of Jenga doesn't take that long, or 20 questions, trivia games. Easy tasks like, take out the recycling, put your books away, something that can be done pretty quickly and just fill some of that time. Or, again, if you've got, a stopwatch handy, which most of us do on our phones, maybe beat your best time tasks. So how long does it take you to do the dishes? How long does it take you to make your bed? And just try to beat that time. For determining rewards and consequences, a lot of parents will sometimes tell me, I just don't know what to use as a consequence, or I don't know what to use as a reward. The best way to figure out what's going to work for your kids is just to watch them. Watch what they opt for, or watch what they want, or watch what they avoid. They're going to tell you exactly what their preferred items are for rewards and what their non-preferred items are for consequences. So what you're going to do here is create a list with 2 columns. And on one side, you're going to have all of the rewards you can think of, and on the other side, all of the consequences you can think of. And remember, consequences can just be as simple as a loss of a reward. So they really like video games, so as a consequence, if they misbehave, they might lose some video game time. And likewise, rewards can be a removal of a non-preferred activity like chores. So if you do really well on your homework today, we're not going to make you read tonight, or we're not going to expect you to take out the garbage. We'll do that for you if you can, really show us some great behavior now. Then what you're going to want to do is get together with the whole team, and I always include the child or the student in this discussion because they have the most buy-in and say, so we need to have them on board. And it's best to have anyone else that's going to be part of this, so the other parent if available, and if you're going to use this with multiple kids, have a whole family meeting, just so that everyone knows and is clear on the expectations and what they get or what they don't get based on their behavior. Last final thing, this is why it's helpful, I should have said this earlier, to do this on a computer or on a whiteboard, or just a way that's easy to reorder, because you don't want to have it be, you didn't do your homework, so now we're losing Christmas. That's unrealistic and doesn't match. So you want to order them from minor to major, or really low-level stuff, both rewards and consequences. So maybe an extra treat or a sticker is pretty high, pretty minor. So that's at the top of the list, and then as you go down, then you can work towards, maybe you can choose family dinner, then maybe you can, earn a toy or a prize from Amazon, or something that's really more high value stuff. Some common rewards, I just sort of was brainstorming what might be something that you can use at home. Preferred activities is an easy one, so screen time, video games, playing outside, FaceTime with friends. And attention is underlined and starred. If you've worked with me for a while, you probably have heard me say your attention is the most valuable asset that you own. So be very careful how you spend it. you only, I mean, some people could say this with your time is the most valuable thing you have. Time and attention, I think, go hand in hand. So that is probably your most valuable asset. And you can give that as a reward, or you could take that away as a consequence or punishment as well. Giving a child autonomy is actually, it's huge. I think we as adults overlook this often. But picking a movie, picking what's out for dinner, changing one thing on their schedule, for the most part, our kids are just, products of us. We set the schedule, we make all the choices. So giving them even a slight opportunity to have some of that autonomy can be very reinforcing for them. Tangibles are things like toys, books, treats, Legos, stickers, anything that you can just sort of give as, hey, way to go, here's a reward for engaging in some expected behaviors. Or you can consider implementing a rewards program like chart moves we talked about last week, having a star chart where every time they do something they get a sticker and they're working towards a goal. Same concept with a marble jar, and a token economy. So for every expected behavior they're engaging in, they get a certain number of points or tokens, or you can even use spare change, and by the end of it they can trade that out for something that they want. And then another common reward that I like to use, especially with students, is less of a non-preferred activity. So one less chore, one free homework problem, being excused from the table early. I like this one because you don't really have to do anything. You're just taking something away that they don't like. So it's pretty easy, and you're not going to run out of endurance or stamina trying to keep up with that. Common reductive consequences would be loss of a preferred item. So this is, I'm going to take away your iPad or your stuffed animal, or I'm taking away the football because you guys can't play without tackling each other into the ground. A loss of preferred activity would be internet access. This is a good point. It's very, once you get used to it, changing the passcode for your internet, you can be a little bit more fluid. I know the first few times that you have to change it is really a drag because you have to reset it on all of your devices. But if you're willing to, and you need this level of control, changing the wireless internet is a really easy way to, sort of hold that until someone does their chores or gets their schoolwork done. Say, once you do this, this, and this, then I can give you the internet password. Or if you don't, then I might take that password away. Again, attention is here underlined and starred because I do believe that that's our most valuable asset. Response cost could be included in a token economy. I always give a lot of caution whenever people are considering using something called response cost, where you've got, say, the jar of marbles, or you've got the spare change drawer that you're slowly building up. But then, if you argue back, or if you have some sort of negative behavior, I'm going to take something you've earned away. The reason I really urge a lot of caution with that is because I have worked with many students who, if you take something away that they've earned, you're going to get much more significant and severe behavior than you had in the first place. So I usually like to say, when you've got it, you've earned it, you're good to go. But sometimes a response cost can be effective. So taking away something that the student has earned can be effective for some kids. And you guys know your kids the best. So whatever makes sense in your guys' home. And then also restitution. This might be one of my preferred reductive consequences. So, if you make a mess, or if you break something, you need to clean it up. You need to put some sort of restitution in place. If you're taking advantage of, the things that we have, then we need to, so like I'm thinking my brother and I, when we were growing up, and we would roughhouse indoors, and we would have to, patch up any walls that we might have fixed, or something similar. Like if we didn't honor, having a clean bathroom, then we would have to clean all of the bathrooms, just something like that. Another restitution could be having a family meeting and talking about it, or writing an apology. By and large, kids want to behave well. For the most part, they want to do well, and so having to talk about it can be excruciating. So having that as a consequence, where we have to have a family meeting and talk about what you did, for some kids can be a huge reductive consequence. So something to consider. So last up, we've got a quiz. According to me, and I am a world-renowned expert, so take that as you will. Your most valuable asset is your residence, your vehicle, your attention, or your investment portfolio. Again, according to me, I would say that your attention is your most valuable asset. You should deliver a reward or consequence as immediately as you can when it works best for you, after you've spent a few days thinking about it, or before your child engages in a behavior, which would be really pretty interesting. Answer there is as immediately as you possibly can. Which of the following should you do to help behavior management? Should you get a schedule in place, list a hierarchy of rewards and consequences, link behaviors to that list of rewards and consequences, or all of the above? Pretty quick answer there, all of the above. And last up is parenting easy. Totally, sometimes, not at all, or not always, but it's totally worth it. Now for this one, I did say the latter, but I would accept probably any answer because all of those are true at some point or another. So that is it. I wasn't able to stay under 15 minutes, but that's okay. We're pretty close. Best ways to get a hold of me are right there. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care.